was taken from Luke chapter 16, and it was read from verse 19 up to the end of the verse, which is verse 30. We are going to take the reading and then we proceed from there. There was a rich man who was clothed in purple and fine linen, and who feasted sumptuously every day. And at his gate was laid a poor man named Lazarus, who was covered with sores, who desired to be fed with what fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, even the dogs came and licked his sores. The poor man died, and he was carried by the angels to Abraham's side. The rich man also died, and he was buried. And in Hades, being in torment, he lifted up his eyes, and he saw Abraham far off, and Lazarus at his side. And he called out, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus to dip the end of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am in anguish in this flame. But Abraham said, Child, remember that you in your lifetime received your good things, and Lazarus in like manner bad things. But now he is comforted here, and you are in anguish. And besides all this, between us and you a great chasm has been fixed, in order that those who would pass from here to you may not be able, and none may cross from there to us. And he said, Then I beg you, Father, to send him to my father's house, for I have 5 brothers, so that he may warn them, lest they also come into this place of torment. But Abraham said, They have Moses and the prophets, let them hear them. And he said, No, Father Abraham, but if someone goes to them from the dead, they will repent. He said to him, If they do not hear Moses and the prophets, neither will they be convinced if somebody should rise from the dead. I've divided this passage into 3 stanzas. The first stanza that runs from verse 19 to verse 22, the next stanza which runs from verse 23 to 28, and the last stanza, verse 29 and 31. So what it means is in every stanza, I want us to at least find a lesson, at least a lesson that we can actually take away from. We have several lessons that we can actually get from this story, but I have actually opted for only 3. But as we go, I know you actually are going to have some that are actually going to be formulating or forming in your mind as we are going through it. So let's go back to the passage and start from verse 19. Go through the first stanza and see what it is that we can actually take away and probably apply in our lives as people of God. There was a rich man who was clothed in purple and fine linen, and who feasted sumptuously every day. I think then there is this color purple that is actually mentioned in the Bible quite several times, even in the Old Testament times. We even see it in Acts chapter 16. I remember it's mentioned in connection with a lady who was actually from Thyatira originally, but she was now living in Philippi, and her name was called Lydia. The Bible actually says this lady was a dealer in purple goods or something like that. That it was so important, it was valuable to be found connected with these purple goods or purple color, because I think even now we remotely use it. If somebody is actually doing very well, you actually see them writing, he has just hit his purple patch. It means we are still recognizing that purple is still a good color. Mark, I think we recognize that. It's a good color, which they are still talking about now. Maybe it would actually equate to what we call gold today. If you hear somebody talking about you having gold jewelry, they are actually talking about you having something that is so valuable and something that is very important. What we are told about this man is that he was clothed in purple and fine linen, and he feasted sumptuously every day. You would not do this unless you were rich extremely rich, and this man was very rich. What does that mean now? It actually means that in his richness, although Jesus doesn't tell us how he acquired his richness, whether they were crookedly acquired or he actually acquired them in a good way, Jesus is not dwelling into that. But Jesus is actually going to dwell into what he did himself as a person, not using his riches, but he himself as a person. So he was actually feasting, not once, not twice, not weekly, not monthly, but the Bible says every day. He was actually feasting, or he feasted sumptuously every day. But, so we are told two things about this man. Number one, he was very rich, and he actually wore fine cloth or fine linen. And number two, he actually feasted. He could afford to feast every day, every moment of the day, because he could afford to do that. But in verse 20, then we are told of another man who lived right about the same time as this man. And the Bible tells us in verse 20 that at his gate, the gate of this rich man, at his gate was laid a poor man who was named Lazarus. But there is a difference here, because we are also going to be told two things that Lazarus did. Lazarus was covered with sores. That was the number one thing that we are told about Lazarus. He was covered with sores. This man was covered in fine linen. Lazarus was covered with sores. He desired to be fed with what fell from the rich man's table. That was the second thing that we are told about Lazarus. He was always longing if he could actually find some things that were dropping off the table so that he can actually feed on them. He was not longing to be fed, with the food that this man was eating. He just wanted the leftovers, those things that could actually fall by mistake from the table, because if you're eating something good, you rarely drop some things off the table, because you would want to enjoy everything. So, by mistake, if something fell off, Lazarus was actually longing and he desired to be fed with what fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, even the dogs, they came and they licked his sores. Imagine a dog coming and all over your body is licking the wound. Obviously, I was thinking about this and I thought, well, maybe the dogs were licking, obviously they were enjoying themselves. I mean, imagine getting a man who is covered with sores and you are coming there and you are enjoying this free juice. I mean, maybe blood is coming out of the wounds, maybe pus is also coming out of the wounds, maybe. Please, you know what I'm talking about. So the dogs are actually coming and they're trying to lick these things and they are enjoying themselves. But I think they were also helping him in a way, because if a wound gets dry, maybe it didn't even have Vaseline to apply on the wound. So if it gets dry, obviously it starts cracking and you actually become pained again. So maybe when the dogs came and they were actually licking the wounds, maybe they kept them, they actually were kept wet so they would not crack. Maybe it was an advantage to him as well. But this is the man, we can see the situation that this man is actually in, this man that is actually called Lazarus. Then in verse 22, where our first stanza ends, it actually says, the poor man died and he was carried by the angels to Abraham's side. And the rich man also died and he was buried. Two things that we actually find here. In fact, I was trying to connect this with what the writer of the book of Proverbs actually said in chapter 22. In the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, the writer actually wrote something like this. He actually says the poor man and the rich man, they meet together. Where do they meet together? Because God is the maker of them both. But he goes on in chapter 29, I think verse 13 or 14, he actually says the poor man, or the rich man and the poor man meet together. This time he doesn't repeat that they meet together because they are both created by God. But he actually says because God provides light for both their eyes. So he provides light to a poor man, he also provides light to a rich man. So they actually find common ground. Other than that, they are not always having any common ground. But I also want to think about this. In this particular verse that we are reading, verse 22, it also tells us about another common ground, which obviously will become our first takeaway from the passage. The common ground that we are actually being told here is that the rich man is going to die. At the same time, the poor man Lazarus is also going to die. So death is actually an equalizer. It doesn't care. It doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care about the status that we have. It will come, it will visit you one day. When it visits you, whether you are rich or poor, you are going to die. That's what we actually see here. The death is actually equalizing. This man that has been enjoying for all his life, enjoying daily, he is going to die. And he is going to leave all this enjoyment behind. But Lazarus, who was always longing, and possibly longing to be fed from those things that were going to fall off the table, he also is going to die. And when he dies, obviously the longing is going to go, because death is actually equalized them all. Death is inevitable. Death is sure to come to everybody, to the rich, to the poor. That's a takeaway that we need to always realize, that death is always going to come. Because in this particular case, it can. But there is something that then happens when death comes, which is the stanza that we are now going to go into. Reading from verse 23, it says, "And in Hades, being in torment, he lifted up his eyes, and he saw Abraham far off, and Lazarus at his side." So these people have died. The Bible is actually creating a picture. This picture, we only get it here. We don't get it anywhere else in the Bible, so to speak. We have several passages that actually talk about what happens. Partially, they partially talk about what will happen when we die. We can think of a passage like 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. It actually creates a picture that people are dying and some are dead. But Paul tells us about the coming back of Jesus Christ. Now he says, when Jesus Christ comes, those that are sleeping in him, those that are dead, or those that served him before they died, and they are still dead by the time that he comes, he actually says they are going to rise first. And those that will be living in that particular moment, for example, if you were to come now, they are those that died in him. They are actually going to rise first. But they are those, I guess, all of us, who are actually trying to live right with him, who are living now. We are also going to be taken and be joined with those that are dead in him. Then together, we are actually going to go up and receive Christ in the clouds. But it goes on to say where we are going to live with him forever. So we are going to be joined together, and we are going to go up and receive and live with him forever. But the picture that I'm saying, look painted in this passage, is that there is a place that the dead are going to go. Let's read further and find out what he says. So he talks about Hades, and he actually talks about a division, so to speak, while he is in Hades, he's actually going to see another man that is called Abraham, together with Lazarus, who are actually on the other side. But what does he say to them? In verse 24, he says then, "And he called out, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus to dip the end of his finger in water and cool my tongue." And I thought about it as I was reading this statement. That this man is in a dire need. This man is longing for something. The same way roles have been reversed here. The same way Lazarus was longing to be fed from the things that will fall from his table, is the same situation, the same scenario that he finds himself in now. He doesn't need a cup full of water. He doesn't need a mug, very big mug that is water. What he needs, what he wishes, is if Lazarus could come and just dip a finger, the tip of his finger, to him he actually sees refreshment coming from there. Think about yourself needing to buy grocery for the family, and you don't have a single cent in your pocket. Maybe your grocery is going to cost $250. Then you are thinking to yourself, and you are saying, okay, where am I going to get $250? And it's becoming obviously very difficult for you to think about a source. But then somebody comes to you and they give you just $10. You will actually appreciate it as if they've actually given you the $250 that you were looking for. Because at least they've started the journey of you getting the $250. They've given you something. I'm going to cover what I can cover now with this $10 while $240 is still being sourced. At least this is a bit of a relief. That's what this man wants. In his time, he would not only need a drop from Lazarus' tongue, but he's actually saying, Abraham, that is going to be better, because I am actually burning in here. You know, I imagined it this morning. I was having some small trouble with flu that wanted to visit me. So she woke up this morning and she boiled some water and she put it in an open dish, and she asked me to go under the blankets, the heaviest blanket she has in her collection. Then she covered me with the blanket while the steam was actually coming into me. That helps, of course, because I would not be able probably to stand here. Like what I was feeling in the morning was really terrible, but I'm much better. Thank you for doing that. Now, I was trying to imagine, because I had already thought about this. Now, I tried to imagine the heat that I was actually, that is not comfortable. I did it in respect of the, otherwise I would have refused. That is not comfortable. You can never feel comfortable when this heat is actually coming on you and the blanket is actually over you and it's not escaping, it's not going anywhere. Or the heat is actually rotating inside and it's burning you. But I was thinking about it and I was saying, okay, so if this man is actually saying, I'm in a flame that is dangerous here, was it something like that? I said, no, look, this cannot even be 1% of what it will be in here. Here we will be burning more than me burning in that water this morning. So that actually is a good lesson that we can actually take. That we then need to avoid that. This man failed to avoid it while he was living. The only opportunity we have to avoid such a thing to happen, of course, is while we are living. Now let's proceed and find out something. So he called out to Abraham. We have actually discovered that, and he wanted his term to be called. Verse 25 says, but Abraham said, child, remember that you in your lifetime received your good things, and Lazarus in like manner bad things. But now he is comforted here, and you are in anguish. And besides all this, between us and you, a great chasm has been fixed, in order that those who would pass from here to you may not be able, and none may cross from here to us. And he said then, I beg you, Father, to send him to my father's house. For I have 5 brothers, so that he may warn them, lest they also come into this place of torment. He is already thinking about his brothers. Because of the torment that he's going through, he actually says, I don't want my brothers to come here, because I am burning here in this flame. There's something that I want us to keep talking about in this. I'm saying Luke is the only one who sort of provides us we probably can come up with our only diagram of what is happening. We are living, these people have been living, we will call this earth, they are living on earth. But both these men are actually going to die, they are going to go somewhere. We remember from Ecclesiastes chapter 12, the writer of that book actually says, the dust referring to the body, when somebody dies, is actually going to return to dust. But the soul or the spirit is going to go back to God who gave it. So these people are living on earth. You are going to be buried on earth. But the spirit cannot be buried as well, because it doesn't die. It's actually going to go back to God who gave it. So let's say God is somewhere here in heaven. But the picture that we are getting from Luke is that there is God in heaven, there is earth where we are living. But somewhere in between, there is a place that is called the Hades. And in Hades, it would appear from what we are reading here, from what Luke is saying, quoting Jesus, there is a division. But this division actually enables those that were living in him, that were living right, to actually go to a place of comfort. But there is also a division where those that were not living right are actually going to go and live. But there is comfort, as we can actually see from Abraham and Lazarus. There is discomfort, as we can actually see in the rich man on the other side. But this is, of course, not where God is. God obviously is somewhere. There's a big debate. A big debate that actually emanates from this passage, where some people are saying, okay, so if we are saying, if a person dies and already it's determined that this one is in Hades, this one is in comfort. Both of them are in Hades, but the other one is in comfort, the other one is in discomfort. So why are we talking about judgment day when Jesus comes? We are not going to go into that. Whether judgment happens instantly when you die or it doesn't happen, that's not important in this particular case. But what we actually want to see and recognize is the fact that there are 2 places where souls and spirits of those that are dead are going to go, as actually represented here. One is represented by torment, where the rich man was, and one is represented by Comfort, where Abraham and Lazarus were. So let's see something there. So if we actually have these two places, there's something that Abraham actually tells us about the two places. This man who is in discomfort is actually going to say to Abraham, can you send Lazarus to come over here so that he can just dip his finger and he can just drop that drop in my mouth, my tongue, I think I'll be okay. Abraham is going to say to him, there is a big barrier that is in between. So those that are here cannot come there. And those that are there, not there, okay, let me first decide. Those that are here cannot come there. And those that are there cannot come here. So we have no relationship here. You cannot come here, neither can we come there. That's not possible. Then the man said, okay, if that is not possible, I agree with you, Abraham. But then I'm thinking about my brothers, 5 of them who are still living on earth. Please, can you then send this man to go and warn them that they should never come here. They should do right and they should never come here. Abraham again is saying, okay, there is Moses and the prophets who are already living down there. If they don't listen to those guys, then it's unfortunate because no one is going to come from here to go there. Even if somebody comes from here, they still are not going to listen. What is our takeaway from it? I thought about this. And we are actually talking about it in a very light way. But I think this is something that we need to seriously think about. Because this is a reality that Jesus was actually teaching. This is a reality that is actually going to happen to each and every one of us one day. Which of the two places are we desiring to go to? Because we have already seen from the little that Luke tells us, in this other place there is comfort and everlasting comfort. But in this other place there is discomfort. And let me call it eternal, everlasting discomfort. So maybe the choice lies now, the power lies with us to decide on which side do we want to go. But I would obviously want to remind you that obviously all of us are actually intended and they would actually want to go to where Abraham is. But let's simplify the process there. How are we actually going to go? It's very simple. We have to be Christians first. That's first and foremost. You can never dream and you can never go there unless you have become a Christian. I mean, that's a rude but a very simple fact. You need to be a Christian first. How do you then become a Christian? I mean, this morning in our study, we were actually looking at some people that became Christians, and by the simplest way, of course, of being baptized in water, and they actually became Christians. But that's not enough. Being a Christian is just not enough. What is enough is to become a Christian and then to live according to the Christian dictates. We need then to live according to what Jesus says we should. We have a perennial problem. And the perennial problem is that us as Christians always relax, the same way that Israelites relax. You remember, Israelites actually lived in Egypt as the people of God. When God wanted to redeem them, He actually sent Moses. And they came and they crossed the Red Sea. And they were going to follow all the route to Mount Sinai. They were actually going to follow all the route up to here when Moses died. But along the way, they actually fought a lot of wars. They actually fought the Amalekites at Rephidim. They actually fought a number of other nationals. They were actually going to disperse all the nationals that were living in here. That never came easy. Why? Because they wanted to go and inherit the promised land. The promised land, the physical promised land of the Israelites was this. It was Palestine. Our promised land as Christians today, as spiritual Israel, is heaven. But while we are trying to walk to heaven, there are a lot of Amalekites that we are going to find along the way. There are a lot of the Girgashites. There are a lot of the Amorites that we are actually going to be fighting on our way. How prepared are we to fight those people anyway? When the Israelites were prepared, but the only preparation they needed was to acknowledge that God is with them. The only preparation they needed was not to take the war into their own hands and think that they could fight. They actually needed to acknowledge that they can only fight if God is fighting for them. So we need to acknowledge that. We cannot live alone in isolation because we are never going to be able to do that. The devil is out there, and what is he doing? He's looking at us. There is a Shona saying which says, if you are playing soccer if you have the ball with you, if you are in possession of the ball, you are the one that is going to be marked. Those that they want to dispossess you. They are not worried about those that don't have the ball because they are not really dangerous. You cannot score unless you have the ball. So they want to take away the ball from you. A Christian gets the ball and the devil wants to take it away from you. Now, the onus is on you and on me to actually make sure that we guard against. We have become so jealous with the ball so that the devil is not going to take it away from us. But we can only do that if we only recognize that Christ is the one that can fight our wars. We cannot fight them on our own, but he has to actually fight. It's interesting, I was looking at what the young boys were actually coloring today. And I think there's a passage that was quoted there about David. And David actually said to the Philistine giant that you actually come to me with spears and all the ammunition that we have, and you think you can defeat me. I'm actually not coming to you armed like that. I'm actually coming to you with God, because God is going to fight for you. That's exactly the attitude that we need to do. If we do that, then we are poised then to go to where Lazarus and Abraham were. But if we don't do that, unfortunately, we then have to go to where this man was. Let's see if we can finish the last stanza, and then we can see what then can we take away from it. Then from verse 29, but Abraham said, they have Moses and the prophets, let them hear. Verse 30, and he said, no, Father Abraham, but if someone goes to them from the dead, they will repent. He said to him, if they do not hear Moses and the prophets, neither will they be convinced if someone should rise from the dead. What are the three things that I want us to take home now from this passage? The first one that I want us to take from home is from verse 19 to 22, which tells us and which makes it clear that death is inevitable. To the rich and to the poor, to the old and to the young, to the female and to the male. But we should not be afraid of death, because we cannot avoid it anyway. If it was something that we could actually say, well done death, I don't want you now, then we could actually start investing in that. But it doesn't matter how much money we may actually try and invest. We cannot stop death. So death, let it come. But when it comes, then let it find you and me prepared for it. At one time, Paul actually says to the Philippians when he was writing to them, that I'm actually prepared to die now. Let me die now. In fact, it's better for me to die now. But for your benefit, maybe if God can actually give me some more time so that I can actually knock sense into your head. But I am ready to die. I think we should come to a time where we are actually saying as Christians we can die anytime because we know that we are actually right with God. I think there is a clip that Margaret Lee saw, I think, on Facebook of another Margaret, so-called preacher, who actually was posting, of course, and he was actually saying, if you die and you go to heaven and you don't see me there, then you are actually in the wrong place. You are not in heaven. You are actually in hell. Because if you don't see me in heaven, then you are not in heaven yourself. Because I am going to be seen there. Because I have done everything that secures me to go to heaven. Of course, a lot of it was gibberish because we know the background of the guy, we know the practice of the guy, we know the fake miracles they always do on people, and I don't agree with what he was saying. But I think we should actually come to a point as Christians where we are actually confident with what we are doing because we know that we are walking right with God. That's the first thing that we can take away. Then from the second stanza, this is something that I want us to realize and take away. There are two places where dead souls don't die. People die who have souls that are not going to die. So there are two places where dead people's souls actually go. One we have found out that is good, and another we have actually found out that is very horrible. So the duty is on you and on me to try and avoid to go to the one that is horrible and terrible. Because there is nothing to smile about in Hades but the other part. But there is everything to smile about in Hades but the other part. I mean, we have to understand that Hades actually simply means the place, the abode of the dead. So all dead people will go to Hades. But the division that we are being given here is that some are going to go to the part of Hades which is bad, and some are going to go to that which is good. Let's strive to do good. so that we are going to go to that which also is God. The last thing that I want us to see there is this. While living on earth, God gives people a code to follow, a code of conduct. He doesn't create people and he leaves them to decide what to do on their own. So every other moment that we are not deciding to follow the code that Jesus or God has actually given, we are in trouble. In Hebrews chapter 1, then, of course, Abraham is actually saying to them, go and follow, tell your brothers, or let your brothers follow what Moses and the prophets are telling you. But in our case, in Hebrews chapter 1, verse 1, it actually says in many times and in many ways in the past or long ago, God used to speak to our forefathers through the prophets. But in these days, in these last days, he actually is speaking to us through his Son, who he made heir of everything, and who he also used to create the world. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing what that passage actually said. But the most important thing that I want to take away from that is the Bible is actually telling us, in Matthew chapter 17, they were told, the apostles that had actually gone with him to the mountain of transfiguration. They were actually told that this is my only begotten Son, in whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. And us as Christians today, we are supposed to be living by the dictates of Jesus Christ. That's our role, that's our duty, that's our obligation. What Jesus says we should do, we should do. If we find ourselves not doing what he has said we should do, then again we should realize that we are not living rightly. And our destination is going to be Hades, but that part, that is bad. But we would wish, all of us of course, because we wouldn't want to long for just a drop of water while we are living in Hades, the other part that is terrible. We want to live in Hades, the other part that is God. What are the three things that we see here? Death is actually going to be certain to everybody, every one of us. We are going to die. The second thing is that once we have died on earth, we are going to go somewhere. I don't know where that somewhere is, but it's there. But that somewhere is actually divided into two. The other place is good, the other place is bad. So we need to avoid the one that is bad and strive to go to the one that is good. What is the last thing then? The last thing is why we are living here, for us to be able then to go to the path that is good. We need to listen to Christ. We need to listen to his word. We need to practice what he says we should while we are living on earth. So that when we die, he actually is going to take us to the other side which is good and not the other side that is bad. I hope that is actually going to be enough for now to encourage us maybe to try and keep on doing good. I know we are doing very well. We are doing good. We are trying to do good. So we need to keep on improving from where we are so that we are actually going to find ourselves, now that death is certain, we are going to find ourselves living amongst those that have lived their lives